because there's a lot of days where you go 50-50, right?
Yeah.
And when you're getting minus 125s, you go 50-50 and you're still losing money.
Facts. Things to watch out for. Here's some betting knowledge that you probably don't have if you're new to this, right? And one of the things he says is like, recent stats almost never matter.
What?
How I see it, there's two ways of betting, and the parlay style of betting isn't wrong.
Surprise!
What's up, kings and queens? It's Dan from Daft Previews, and in this video, I caught up with Josh from Land Your Bets to learn more about his journey, to understand more of his strategies, his thoughts, and his opinions about betting on the NBA. This was a very casual conversation that I believe has some very important gold nuggets that will change the way that you think about betting on the NBA. Josh has an excellent hit rate, especially on NBA player props, so I had to find out more. So I asked him a series of questions to try to uncover some strategies and his thought process around the whole thing. Links to his channel are in the video description below. I do hope you guys love the content and you enjoy the interview. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Let's go. You will. I know you will. I watch you every day.
I appreciate that.
You got brilliant sweating out of your pores, my friend.
Oh, man. I'm sweaty right now. You're right. I'll give you the start. I used to work for NBA 2K, the video game company. And helped
with Ronnie.
Yeah, that's right. Ronnie hired me. That was my first ever boss. Was Ronnie 2K. And then I think after like 3 weeks of me working there, he's like, yo, I'm not your boss anymore. I was like, got it, Ronnie. But it was a good 5 years. And then really right when I started working there, I started working for thelines.com. They were still very up and coming, and they're still making their way. But I do a lot of freelance work for them, predominantly NBA, and started the first ever NBA show on their channel with my co-host Nate, who was just writing for them at the time. And when sports betting became legal around the time, I was like, doing it. It just like a lot of people, I was doing it because I was like studying sports every day anyway for content and using stats to justify whatever I was talking about. And then it just turned into, well, let me use that to find an angle with the sports books. And as I continued to learn more about what betting actually means, you're betting against the sports book, you're betting against the public. You're taking a number that they deemed was right, and now you have to decide how you feel about its rightness. And I was just doing that for fun and just continued to get better as I was doing it, learning from the guys at the lines who were more doing football and basketball, or like college basketball or baseball or what have you, and learning the tools that they used and how the NBA differed, and then really making that my sweet spot because I love basketball and always played it at a decent level, and then was able to use that really more intuitively than football that I never played at that level, etc. And it was a lane that they had because no one was doing NBA every day. So you just kind of fall right into it. And then fast forward to like last whatever year ago, I stopped working at 2K and was like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and make this my thing. But I think there's a lot of things that I see in this space that I could do differently than other people are doing, and maybe do it better than some people are trying to do it. So let me jump in and see how it goes, And so that's been the last, really, since NBA season started, was the YouTube channel and its beginning.
That's dope, man. So let's say you go out to a bar one night and you meet a pretty young lady or man, right? I ain't judging, and they say, what do you do every day? What do you do for a living? How would you answer that?
I've honed that because right when I left 2K, especially, that was the most difficult question to answer. And I just stumbled over it until I was like, you legit need to practice this because, and not just practice it, but like actually understand what the answer is. Like, what is the answer? And the answer was that I've come to is sports betting analyst. And really the goal for everything is to expand upon having a YouTube channel beyond just have other properties as well, and expand who I work with and who might work with me within my network and things like that, right? And then figure it out. It's still all like the Wild West, I think we started saying when we began the conversation, but that's the overarching goal. So that it's not like it's beneath me to say like, oh, I have a YouTube channel, or hey, I'm a content creator, or anything like that. But I do think that like there's a level of how seriously I take and proclaim my business to be is as serious as others will take it. So if it's just a YouTube channel, and I say just because that's it, and if that is it, that's awesome. That's not even if I had almost half, let's say I have 500,000 views a month, that's not enough money for someone who's trying to like move forward is as like a serious entrepreneur, etc. Right. So it can't just be that the YouTube views that I get are my income. So with that in mind, what else am I doing to create new revenue streams? And as a result, I don't want to just be seen as a YouTube creator, because I want to have these other revenue streams that expand upon that title and what I get to say I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really requires a mindset shift. Like this, even for me, the last 2 months have been probably the most committed I've been to doing this. And the reason why is I guess my goal shifted. Every year I would try to do the same thing. I'd be hyped about the new NBA season, do picks, data, all this stuff. And then I'd have a bad patch of betting. I'm like, I don't want to front the camera today. And then you lose the algorithm and then you're starting from scratch. But this time, honestly, I haven't told anybody this, but I was like, this is going to be my last time. If this doesn't work, I'm going to jump into e-commerce. I'm going to try and find a different hustle. So I was like, I'm just going to commit myself. And the shift in my mindset was, it's not just being a YouTuber now. Like, I am an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, and YouTube is one of the very many functions that I can play with. And as soon as I made that switch, then it wasn't necessarily about a view. It wasn't about somebody's comment. It wasn't about likes. None of that even matters anymore. I do what I think is going to land. And if it lands, great. And if it doesn't, shit, I'll try something different. So it's
100%. And you know what that's a really good example of is this dude that I follow on Twitter who like did kind of the same thing around the same time I did. Within months of me leaving 2K, he had already started, he left his company as like financial dude, whatever. And I just found him because he made a really dope video on and put it out on Twitter. That was like a 2-minute like news style video of like him going into this really cool topic of like, it was Drake and Drake's placements. It's something, whatever. Like it was Drake put digital placements where you could buy the things in the YouTube video, whatever, right? It was something cool that he dove into. And like, I started to realize he's one of those dudes who like, he tweets out like these like really, when he has like a aha moment or he learns something cool that he wants to share with his followers, he puts it out and does this like whole diatribe about it. And the one that relates to what you just said is like, if you have long-term goals, then the little failures along the way won't hurt you as much. But if your goals are short-sighted only, and all you have is like, what's my 1 month, 2 month, 3 month goal, then every single little failure, and which you're going to have, by the way, everybody's going to fail in some fashion within that. You can't succeed 100% of the time as you reach your goals. If you have them greater, then like the little failures are fine. Like long-term betting, if you have a bad night of betting, but you're playing a little bit more volume and like making sure that you have the long term in mind of like, okay, it doesn't matter that I lost 2 units tonight. I'm up 6 on the last 2 weeks and in the last 3 months, right? Like this is my income if it is, and then look at it as a business. So,
yeah, no, that's a really good point. Actually, let's talk a bit more about the betting. So you do all your betting, your picks, everything is for free. Am I correct?
Correct.
Now, something that really intrigues me about people like yourself, because I know I do it, but I might have different reasons as to why I do it all for free. I wanted to ask you why you do it for free, because you are amazing at it. You are excellent at what you do. That's why I watch it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But I want to know why you do it, because there's so many other people trying to leverage that particular skill to sign up to my Patreon, my service, or a lot of people are trying to take when you're out there giving.
No, I appreciate that. There's a couple of things. I mean, the number one reason I would say, and like it's the most selfish reason, is I don't feel like I have any stance to stand on. Like I don't have a platform to stand on to say you should pay me for this, right? Like if you follow me on thelines.com, which is where I freelance as like a lead NBA contributor alongside my co-host, right? Like when I say that's because we're the two providing daily analysis and daily picks, and then a lot of the other content is more like futures bets from the other guys, or a little bit more far long-term sighted, whatever. And so that's the only other place I'm doing stuff, and it doesn't really, that's not enough of like a credential, to be honest, to say like this is, I don't want to come across as this dude who was just one day, because a lot of people are like, I could do this better than that guy because they win a big bet here or there. And so what makes me stand apart from the dude on the couch who's tweeting out the same thing that I might be tweeting out or what have you, right? Well, one is there's a show. So like, hopefully the show is enjoyable. Hopefully the show itself and what you're getting as a whole package is something that grabs you for the 15 to 20 minutes that you're watching it. Hopefully. If it doesn't, then you were probably just going to scrub through and find the picks anyway and be like, well, this dipshit's just, this is the only place he's putting it, so I'll just take it from here. I don't need to watch all of them. He's even got a slide next to him. That's right. Like, who cares? And I get that. So like that, but that's fine. I know that that's happening. I know who that dude is that's doing that, right? But I'm not worried about him, because there's also the people that are like jumping in the comments and saying things like, yo, I appreciate this analysis on stuff. They're the ones also taking what I gave them and either not playing what they don't like because I'm an idiot and I shouldn't have picked this under or whatever, or they're like using it because they like, I'm tailing that bet because I agree with you. In fact, I went further into looking into that bet that you played and also like this aspect of it. That's my ideal audience member, because that's building a brand affinity for what I'm actually bringing, deeper than just graphics and deeper than just the picks and even deeper than just the insight.
It's like not transactional. It's not. Yeah.
100%. And so that's what I'm trying to build is like, I care about how long you're watching the video. I care about what you took away from it. I care about, do you want to engage with me in the comments and enough to where like when I start doing a live stream here, when I come back from a little break that I'm taking, yeah. Okay, so are you going to actually want to come to that? What am I providing in that is a reason you should come to a live stream beyond just the picks and that you could just get in a recorded video and you'll just wait till the live stream's over and then come back, right? Like all that kind of stuff I want to start doing to enhance what you're getting from me, right? And that includes a website that is almost done being built, right? And then maybe the Discord comes from there from free. But until I give you a strong reason to like love me and what I'm bringing consistently, and if you don't love me, but okay, fine, let it people go. But if you do, and there's enough people that do, then at some point, hey y'all, I don't want to work for thelions.com anymore. I'm trying to reach my dreams. So if you care about what I'm doing here, and you seem to, can you throw me $5 a month? Yeah. And once I get to a point of enough people that I think would ride with me for $5 a month, because it's that amount of money out of their pocket is way less than hopefully what they're making, even by betting $5 at a time, right? From me, then cool. And if I can guarantee you that like on average in the month, you're going to be up X amount, whatever. Okay, I'll go slowly into that. But like I said, once I get to X amount of followers, then it's like, okay, now I have enough ride or dies that $5 a month from all of them is enough to sustain myself as I keep building out, and then start dumping money back into the business to expand it even further, and just like anything else, right?
Yeah. No, that makes heaps of sense.
Yeah.
So your reasons for not selling your picks, slightly different to mine. I personally, I just don't like the pressure. I don't like the accountability because I have enough people. Like I have a Discord of, I think you may have just joined it, Discord of 1,200 people. And that's been built over 2 years. YouTube's relatively new, but yeah, where I used to put picks out and that was the sole purpose, just picks.
Yeah.
And then people would tail and I'd be a hero. And then I'd have a bad day, crash and burn. And the guilt was eating me up inside. And I don't know why. I didn't force that on anybody. I didn't tell them that they have to. And I didn't sell a service. It's just I had that much engagement. People would tail them anyway. And just the accountability and the pressure didn't sit well with me. And it's also, I don't know what it's like over there, but in Australia, it's actually a very competitive market. People selling services all the time. People don't help each other here. They don't say, this is a great pick. They say, look what I won. Look what everybody's saying, look what I won. Come sign up. Right. So it's very competitive. So I thought my way into the market, or how I can shake the market, I'll just do everything for free. That way I don't have accountability. I'll build a community. I'll build a brand. I'll be helpful. I'll do education. It's not just about selling. And then we slowly starting to see some growth. But those are my reasons.
What do you attribute the growth that you've seen this year beyond past years to?
I think it's consistency is the biggest thing, because I was very inconsistent. I was very reactive to whatever was happening. If things were good, I'd be pumping out 1, 2, 3 sometimes. Like I'd be going hard. You go through a difficult stretch and you think, oh, what's the point? This is difficult. Or I'm putting all this effort in, I'm not getting anything back. But my goals weren't right. So consistency, a different mindset. I'm a little bit older. I'm not going to lie. Here in Australia, we had these like financial challenges across the country after COVID.
Yeah.
Where pretty much interest rates have gone up higher, and like a mortgage I was paying a lot of people would pay $1,500 a month. That suddenly doubled to $3,000. Where do you get twice the amount of money from? Like, so financial pressures came in, and I thought, I got to do more than just my 9 to 5. I need to find something different. I've got a young family. I need to find another way to provide, because doing both, working 9 to 5, coming home, being a family man, creating content, research, doing that every single day, it's not sustainable. But starting to find some progress, and there's more than just light at the end of the tunnel. Like doors are opening up, opportunities are opening up. So I'm really excited by that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, that makes sense too, man. I mean, I think if you the question I would also just ask one more is like, when does it turn into, or does it matter to you if it never turns into this is the main form of your income, essentially?
Ideally, I would like it to. All my side hustles, the things that I do, I would prefer that to become my main source of income, because that gives me flexibility. Sure. With a young family, that's the most important thing. So I just need more flexibility. But at the same time, what's happening at the moment, it's supporting the income I already make, and that puts me in a very good position. I just know long term it's not sustainable for me to juggle both. So yeah,
100%.
Let's talk a little bit more about betting, though. Okay. I like to, here in Australia, I call myself the king of casuals. So I'm the king of casual betting, right? And I say that because I am very well aware of the most appropriate ways to bet, the smartest ways to bet for long-term profit, singles, not parlays. Yeah. I am completely entrenched in that, and I understand it completely. Sometimes I just can't fight the urge, and I bet like a casual. And my community is very much aware of that. So that my slogan is, research like a pro and bet like a casual. And it works for me, right? I'm not losing money, put it that way. Yeah. It works, but I do get a little bit crazy and adventurous with casual betting. I wanted to ask, have you delved into the realms of being a casual bettor? Because that's where some massive wins come from, right? And that's what bettors like to hear. I want to hear a story if you have one. Big wins, massive parlays. Give me the casual side of Josh.
So yeah, when you say casual, you just mean something that's like more of a lottery than like you said, like a little bit more of a grinded out style of betting. But when you say grind, you still have a slightly bigger picture to what you're getting out, right? Like if you're grinding out maybe a -110 bet, or as close to even money as you can get, but for the most part you're hovering around there, and you're making solo individual picks, and sometimes you might throw a small lottery on them, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But there are, just to be clear, like how I see it, there's two ways of betting, and the parlay style of betting isn't wrong. There are a lot of,
be aware of the risks.
Yeah, 100%. But also there's a plan, right? Like I know a lot of guys who find the Prize Picks lines to be so soft that they can consistently find bets that if you hit a six legger, right, and you get paid whatever that is, 25 or something to 1, right? At that point, you get paid the 25 to 1. Those are actually the way to go if you have the patience to play them enough times that, like, yeah, you only need to hit it once out of every 24 times. Like, that's a pretty good number, man, to be able to do that with, because if you feel like you have enough of an edge on certain ones, plus like you throw, obviously you portion your units well, that like you consistently play the 3-leggers or 2-leggers or whatever, and you have that lottery in there to just say like, look, I believe in all these, so many, whatever, right? And so yeah, I've watched people do that, and that's the place that I have the biggest sort of story of hitting, and it was dunks. It was over 100 dunks. It was using some sharp analysis from someone way smarter than me, whose model I just sort of jumped onto. So, like, cool people, if you're cool with them, they're like, yeah, you want view access to my betting model? Yes, I would like that, thank you. Yeah, so like, yeah, very, very lucky to have like access to that, and then just like find these, like, it's literally just like looking at a props.cash table that we all love to look at green and be like green and like chase that, right? And so that's and when you see like +4 difference between what the book's number is or Prize Picks number is and what your expectation is, you're like, yes, like, okay, cool. How many different combinations of this one can I put in, even if it's a dunk? And and that dunk might be based on like player tracking methods, data that we now have, which is awesome. So those are still like analytically found big lotteries. And I'm not like trashing the word casual by any means, because I know what you mean by it. I also just wanted to like let you know what I mean when you say that too. Like, that is the story of the biggest win is Prize Picks dunks, and it was Jared Allen overs, and it was like
how many legs did you have? How many?
There was 6 legs, so it was like it was 4 different combos of 2, right, and then 1 combo, and then a 6 leg power play, whatever, which pays 25 to 1. And so that was like the total haul for the day was like 8,600.
Wow.
But putting like 300 on the 2 legs that got you 900 each, and then the one was $200 to win 25 to 1. I think it was 5,000, whatever. So
that's awesome. Actually, this conversation just reminded me of part of how I got some of the growth that I've had. Just remind the whole thing. So you guys, I'm assuming you guys would have like free bets or bonus bets, right? So they're not as popular here as they are over there, based off what I've seen in promotions and ads. Regulation wise, our government doesn't want people pushing those type of promotions out because Australia have the worst gamblers in the world. Like terrible.
Right? So they all lose too much money.
They're awful. Their paycheck is gone immediately.
So the government is like, we need to help these people from themselves.
Yes, that's right.
Amazing.
So they've had to restrict a lot of the betting companies. But I was going through a stretch where I had a strategy I was basically playing same game parlays, and I'd only play them if I knew if I got one leg wrong, I would get bonus bets back.
Right.
And I was aiming for, I think how you guys would see is plus 200 odds. So 3 to 1.
2 to 1 would be
2 to 1. Yeah. And I'd try to hit those every single day and make a little bit of profit. But then when I got those bonus bets, I saw it as a free chance, right? I'm aware of match betting and how you can make a little bit of profit based off the bonus bets that you have. And I thought that's not fun for me because I'm the king of casuals here. So what I gained a lot of following for is what we call anacondas. And they call it, I didn't name it that. Someone called it that and it stuck. And it's basically called an anaconda because my bet slip would be as long as an anaconda. And what this bet slip is, it's if you have an NBA slate of 10 games and you do a same game parlay for every game, you put all of it together. Jesus. And it creates this big, juicy anaconda. And then I would never put my actual money on something as silly as that. Yeah. But when I look at a bonus bet or a free hit, let's have a free run at this. I went through a stretch over 6 months where I probably hit 5 or 6 of these. And I was putting $50 or $100 bonus bet on them. So I went through the biggest one I had was about $10,500. I was paying 100 to 1. And that really started to kick it off. And then I didn't hit it. I hit a couple more over the coming weeks. And then I just got a big following. And they
wouldn't put like a max wager on you with the bonus bet there. That would, did you bet the max basically? Was it like 100?
I bet what I had. That was 100, but
okay.
Yeah.
And that hit.
Yeah. I think it was probably mid last year or the year before that. It was, and I hit it I've done it in the NBA. I hit it in rugby league, which is our national sport here. Actually, the one I did in the NBA was bigger. It was what I basically did was I was like, it was before I had access to tools like Outlier or props.cash. I went through, I think, Yahoo Sports, because they have pretty good game logs. And I we're probably 20 games into the season. And then I saw, I'm going to look at every single player that's playing today. And I'm going to look at whatever line they have for points, rebounds, or assists. And I'm just going to pick every single leg that has had a 100% hit rate through these first 20 games. So I did this big write-up and I shared it up on Facebook, explained my method, my process. Here's the bet slip if anyone wants to follow. And that hit. Now, I only won a couple thousand off that, but other people won a lot more.
Right.
Which goes to show how bad people in Australia are. They put hundreds of dollars on a bet from a big bet slip from an absolute random person on the internet. But because it hit, I got a bit of a following from that.
So, and that would be a situation where if it didn't, then you'd be an idiot.
Yeah, but no one would hate on me because they feel stupid for betting on it in the first place.
Right. Absolutely. But that's wild. And so, but and the thing though is like did that help your subscriber base, right? That felt how many subscribers you had, but it didn't necessarily like mean that more views were immediately coming to your videos.
No, it didn't help with my YouTube growth because I wasn't YouTubing at the time, but it did help grow my Discord. Gotcha. So my Discord grew organically, I'd say. Like I don't promote it to anyone or anywhere. I just put a link, and if you join, you join.
Got it.
And that just grew very quickly. So then when I had the Discord following, I thought, oh, let's create YouTube content and then plug the Discord in there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was one. It just reminded me, like betting like an absolute idiot. It helped me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never got restricted or banned for winning those things either, right? Because our sports books see that betting behavior as that's good. We want that. Do it again. Have another bonus bet. Here you go. So they encourage that behavior. So
sometimes they're like, please win, so that you are then just seeking that win
forever. Yep. Get hooked forever. Tell your followers, let's do this. So,
but to your point. Real quick to the point you made earlier was like you've got to have the patience and I guess just the self-restraint to like maintain that level of like focus of like, no, even if you do lose a number of times in a row, there's like it's okay, like if you have a strategy essentially, right, and you come back and so the casual betting part of it too is if you just like lose that sort of level of like restraint, right? And focus on it. And then you start just going outside of what your strategy is. And now, okay, well, now you're losing money in a way that you're like, screw this whole gamut. And you're like, all right, well, I guess the gamut got you then.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Then you just spend every day praying.
100%. Or you just get out of the game at that point, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a bit more betting because I want to provide some value to the people who are watching this. So one thing that I did to improve my betting is I watch a lot of people like yourself, and I don't necessarily follow other people's bets because I hate holding someone else accountable for a bet that loses. I need to make sure it's me. I have to own that and do my own research.
Right.
But I love to watch yours purely just to see how you break down a bet. What are we talking about? And you don't have to give us the whole book, but I'd be interested to know if we're talking about NBA player props, for example, because that's my forte. That's what I love doing, and you've been absolutely killing it this year. What is your strategy? How do you break down a bet in order for NBA player props?
So, I mean, the first thing too about killing it, which I appreciate it, is there was a solid, like, there's been 2 stretches. One is like 2 weeks in a row. One was like legit like 3 weeks in a row of like, all right, tight. In 3 weeks, I'm up 19 units. 2 weeks of like 16. You know, it was like, this is good. But if you look at the daily record and daily unit recoup, if you will, there might be a plus 2.9, a plus 3.5. Lot of like, but then just as many as well in the hot streaks, you get a lot of those. But even in the hot streaks, every second day, every third day, every fourth day, there's a minus 0.1, plus 0.2, plus 0.3, minus 0.4, minus 0.8. But it's like the ceiling, the floor is like minus 1 unit on the day. Unless it's like a complete anomaly, obviously. I'm talking about like the average range. And then the ceiling is going to be like an average range of like, 1.5 to 2, right? So you keep that consistent over the course of 14 days. It looks really good. You keep that average unit size of plus 1.5 every day for 2 weeks. You look great. You're like, look, if you followed me and you bet $100, whatever, you got 1,400, whatever, right? It looks awesome. And that's fine. But it's also in those hot streaks, you're up like 0.2 a day, right? And that's or two units a day. And that's awesome. But if you average it out, it's still you're mitigating losses is the main point that I'm taking a long time to say, which is like you're never allowing it to be like, okay, I'm not that sure about this one, but I still got to keep hemorrhaging the units here because you know what I mean? Like that's what they're telling me. But the strategy for player props, to answer the question more directly and take less time to get there, is just that like it starts with the analytics for sure. Now I am watching a lot of games and I do know players in basketball. Like, okay, the highest level I played, to be totally honest, is still community college, not out there like claiming that I even like made the NCAA in any way. But this is the sport that I've been following through a deeper lens than just like, how many points did that dude have? I actually am interested in the strategy behind how come that dude did well in this game. Right. And so it's now that we have the tools that we have, I can do that in a better way, more accurately, more efficiently, more proficiently than I ever could, because there was no player tracking data. And they weren't even really concerned with things like, player EPM. And there's all these different, like where the player is on the court. So you can create a profile so that we can acknowledge that Josh Giddey's not a shooting guard, even though plenty of places have him listed as such because he's alongside Shea, who has the ball in his hands more. Does not mean Josh Giddey's a shooting guard. He can't really shoot. Not to trash your countryman, but like he's got to be wide the hell open, and it's still not necessarily going in. So like, stop labeling him as a shooting guard. That's not his profile, right? Yeah, it's like he's Magic Johnson. Forward. It's more of his profile than anything shooting guard. So that's the type of stuff that I want to like that I dive deeper into, and then you start to get a feel for different patterns that you like if player A out, then player B do better. Or if player A defender on the opponent team out, because now I'm looking at like individual matchups, even more than just team matchups, right? Like it's just a simple thing of like, ask yourself why. And if you can't answer me in a way that satisfies me with the answer to the question I asked of why this, and then ask why again and again until you're satisfied, then it's not a good enough bet. And that you turn that into numbers. You just turn it so that you can do it effectively every day. That's what a betting model is. And that's what I start with every day, is a betting model that's spitting out numbers at me based on inputs that I put in automatically. Right. So I create that parameters of what I think will happen so that I can project my own numbers rather than just go, well, that sounds high. The book put that number out. Oh, that sounds kind of high. Well,
Hey, I
why the
do
hell
that
does that sound
sometimes.
high? What's your number, dog? What do you
Yeah.
got? Yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So as the king of casuals, I do exactly that, right? Who was it? I had Jeremy Grant. Remember Jeremy Grant recently scored 40 something points against Detroit or something? I had a look at it. His line was 29 and a half. I'm like, that seems high. And I checked the under. He had 26 at halftime. And I was like, God. Like, I spent so much time with other picks, but for some of them, like, it seems high. And they're just as simple
Yeah.
as that, right?
Yeah.
I get ahead of myself sometimes.
I know I'm plugging someone else. I would actually recommend, I don't know if he'll come on, but Blaze Betts is on Twitter, and he's awesome at what he does. And he goes hard with his opinion. He is not like weak of opinion. Let me put it that way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And one of his opinions that he repeats consistently when he does one of his like things to watch out for. Here's some betting knowledge that you probably don't have if you're new to this, right? And one of the things he says is like recent stats almost never matter. Which is like upending many
Just
different
destroyed
platforms.
the industry.
Just upended the platform where let me put it this way to support his point. Prize Picks. Why do you think that they have recent numbers for the dudes?
They show it to you because they know it doesn't matter.
Why do you think they want you to have that information?
Yeah.
This
We
whole
recently
gamut
had
is
one
who
of
has right.
one
Yeah,
of
who has
one of
better
our biggest
information?
sportsbook just released that feature this season, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, this is so helpful." And then I was like, "Oh god, their marketing is working.
They're winning. They're
They're
winning.
winning."
So
Yeah.
yeah, like anytime that someone's like, this app, this sports book's awesome because they has stats on it, giving you the information that they want. What?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So Blaze is a good for to understand like that type of stuff where he's like, tell me what happened in this game. He watches a ton of games. Now,
Yeah.
For people like us, I also am casual because I want to make clear, like, I am betting this stuff, but not in a way that that's is what supports me. I'm trying to be a sports betting media network. Right. That is what I want to make my money off of. But I still want to do it in the best possible way to give you good information and not do it in a way that I'm just shelling things out for the purpose of treating you like a cow that I'm milking to like get food from or milk. Right. Like, so if I'm doing it right, it takes a lot of time. I'm not watching every game the way Blaze is like literally like going and watching like every like 15-minute recap of a game to make sure he doesn't miss a possession. You know, where it's like a 30-minute recap. And like, I'm not because I need to like update the graphics for my show and like do the research for these picks and try and like know that I have this much time in an evening and a morning to like get the best product out there. So that means I have to focus on this, and that. Right. And you know what I'm saying. So like that would be the end goal. But I still think that I'll never sacrifice the idea that I am taking the time to look at my model and I am starting with well, that sounds kind of high. And I'm looking into why I think that, right? I'm not just betting it right away, but I'm doing a pretty deep dive until I feel very strongly satisfied that all the whys I feel that is high are answered correctly, and then I can support it. And sometimes I start out being like, that's kind of high. And then I look into it and I'm like, oh, that's kind of low. And then I bet the other way, right?
Yeah.
So
you got to start somewhere. I Blaze and his talk about the form for games. I actually did a video last season where I looked at all the props that were currently available, points, rebounds, and assists. I looked at all of them, right? And then I screenshot every single one before the game. And then I was testing a projection tool at the time to see how accurate it would be. And the biggest call that I had there, and which absolutely blew my mind, was that the matchups don't matter. Like the matchup data doesn't matter. And it makes sense to me, right? Because the sports books are aware of the matchup data, so they lift the line. If it's a good matchup, they raise the line. It's been taken into indication, but a lot of people just say, "Oh, this person's got a good matchup. This is why you should take it." And that was like a starting point for me when I was like, "All right, who am I going to look into first?" So, all right, Josh is up against Dan. He's got a height advantage. Dan can't defend centers, whatever. Let's go look at Josh's numbers and then work it from there. Whereas then I was like, shit, it doesn't even matter. Like there's so many things, and which is why I love it, right? My favorite thing about this is it's not necessarily making money. It's about being right. It's about looking into that crystal ball based off my knowledge of basketball, the data that I'm given, the headlines that I see, the schedule that I look at, just breaking shit down to say, I believe that this is going to happen, and I believe it strongly enough. I'm going to go in front of millions of people, put myself online. I'm going to tell you, this is what I think is going to happen. That's what I love about it.
That's a thrill. Yeah. That is a rush. And there's a large swaths of people who are against us, who hate us. You know that because part of what we're doing is publicizing the stuff that need to be behind closed doors.
Yes.
Because it is just about information. And it's not even about information or wrong information. It's about what information do you have? Because if the sports books know the information that you have, which is the point you're making about the matchup data, then they just use that against you. They don't care what the number is. They don't care if they're right or wrong or otherwise. They care what you think. They care that right or wrong or otherwise. And then they're going to set a number that allows them to make the most money off what you think. And they need, that's why they're worried about who you are more than just like the amount of stuff, right? It's like, who are you? Because if you're a dude who's shown himself or herself to be sharp, then we're not going to take your money, first of all, which sucks. But also then like we might even be moving the stuff we do based on what you say, because now you have people following you who are going to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So now we're just going to move it as soon as you bet. Like, that's fine. You bet your number. We'll take your number. Now the public is just flying in on what you said. And they're still going to, you said 26.5. They're going to take it up to 29.5 because they just want a piece of the action that you gave them, not realizing that 3 points is a massive difference. So it's just about the information that they know that you have. That's the gamut. And a lot of what I do is like, I'm not betting to like get myself the right number all the time, but I'm also making videos in a way that like, hopefully you get an early number. I have like connected with people who are those dudes and female women and women. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just tripping over my words now. They, them. I'm trying to like not just keep perpetuating this, that we are only dudes. It's not very welcoming when I say dudes and him all the time. So I get that, and I'm gonna be better about it. I promise. The people doing this, like I am talking to a number of them, and I think it's a good idea. I learned this lesson recently in a story that I could tell, but like, get in with those people too, know what they're knowing, and never, ever, ever use the information that they give you in a way that will hurt them. Right. And so I'm like on text with people that are way smarter than me that are betting large sums of money. And when they bet money, that market moves. And so and it's hilarious. And like texting and being like, you like this? He's like, oh man, you have like 3 minutes to touch that bet because I'm about to hit the under hard. And like a minute and a half later, I'm looking at my computer and the line changed. And I'm like, oh my God, it's that. I just watched it happen, So like, so it's good to have that info and then make sure that I'm not stepping on any toes, and then go forward with the best info. Like you're saying, education is a part of it so that you know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And maybe you can use this same stuff moving forward, even before my next video. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking about information, do you use many paid tools? There's a lot of free information that's out there, but do you have any paid tools that you find useful?
Just one. At this point, I mean, I do have an outlier account and I do have a props.cash account.
Yeah.
And
same as I've got both. Yeah.
But I have also, I've also got a betting model. A friend gives me, 2 different friends give me access to their betting models that have become massively helpful, because one strictly does predominantly player props, and the other one does strictly sides and totals. So I get both
correlation, right?
100%. So what one doesn't give me, the other does. And then I'm also having my own built right now based off of, the help of friends too. You know what I mean? Like I'm finding people that are helping me, and then I can hopefully help them with a following that advertises for that, whatever, right? Like that kind of thing, as you're still like building it up for it to be like a legit form of income.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Because I always think about it, because I do have money to invest into more tools, but then I think, I wonder what other tools are out there.
Yeah.
But then I don't want to get paralyzed by the data, right? Because I feel like I have heaps of resources already. A lot of them I don't use anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's gotten to the point where you do this every day, you just get into this rhythm. It's like, I know the players, I know which teams are good and bad in what areas, and home, away, positioning on the court, how player performance changes depending on who plays. Like you do this every day, and it's very easy to make a short list in your mind, which is quite crazy to get to that point, because I haven't been there before. Like, whereas before it used to be everything had to be backed by data and research. Whereas it could probably take me 15 minutes. I can look up the slate, look at the types of players, have a good feeling. If the line's about here, I think that's what I'm going to take. So that the actual betting part is easy. What I do on YouTube is for everybody else. Like that long research that I go through, I don't require that, but I know that that's what my audience wants. But yeah,
that's a really good point, because I would agree, because the stuff that I do, I've tried to expedite the process as much as possible to come up with the conclusions that I come up with, to then put it in something that's engaging visually, and then do a show. Right.
Yeah.
And that is always going to be a pretty long process. I have a dude that's always in the comments, Dave something, who's like, it'd be great to get your take on every game. I'm like, Dave, there are 13. How long do you think it takes? Like, this is a wonderful compliment, Dave. You're a very sweet man. I appreciate it. Also, like, have a sense of reality, please, Dave. Like,
Yeah.
so anyway, but yes, within all of that, it's like, yeah, I'm also betting myself on things in a way that's like, I hope I can bet on it and then give that same number to you by the time this video comes out, but that is how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where the 5-month thing could come in. It's something that I've been considering. A lot of people have been in my comments asking me to do it, and I was like, I don't want to charge people for anything. But then I was like, if I did charge people before I even edit my videos, I can tell you what I'm betting on because I already know. But it takes me from recording to uploading. It's probably 3 hours.
100%.
So if I
And
can
think
get those
about
out
it,
early,
if you give that bet out and then maybe focus even more on the actual like content of your show, right? Like you can spend a bit more time like thinking of a cool segment or coming up with a new graphic or what have you to enhance that, because people already got the people who are paying for what you're bringing in terms of the intel, the IP, that stuff. You've given that. And so like you've done your job to those who have decided that's a priority to them. To those who have decided they would just rather have the video, cool. Then you'll get that when you get it, and hopefully the number's still good, but it'll be fun and cool, engaging. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's something for me to think about because I'm on a hot streak at the moment. I don't like to make when I'm on a hot streak because I have this false sense of confidence, right? Like I think I'm up 25 units this week, so I'm angry that we hit the All-Star break. Like I hate that.
Damn, they called timeout. You were getting hot.
Yeah. I had momentum. Duff Rivers called the timeout, and I think every day has been positive. I had like 5 units, then I had a 10-unit day, and then even though the most recent day was a bit average for me, I was like 0.8. Like you said, as long as you're in that range, I was 0.8 in the positive. I was just like, getting ahead of myself. I got used to winning a lot more.
Right. So you're like, that's a shit day.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Oh, shit day in the association. Like I was still positive, right? Like it wasn't the worst. Vince
100%.
delivered. Like so
100%. And and you just have to get back. I mean, it's going to be just a long game anyway once you come back from the break. Like so like, but that's awesome. Are you playing all straights there, or is that a bunch of parlays in there as well?
It's mostly straights. I think when I look at my tracker, about 80% of what I do is straights. So I do play 1 to 2 same game parlays a day, and they're usually 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 odds. But I only do that where there are, because I don't like betting too many straights from the same game. Sometimes I look at the board and it's like, I like 3. So I kind of tease all their lines down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I just play them as a same game parlay instead of, because if I get if I'm right, I'll get all 3 singles. But if I read the game wrong and they're correlated, I could just go wrong. Like it could be painful. So I figure, let's just put it into one bet. If I've read it right, we're good. If I don't, fair enough. But for the most part, it's single bets. But what I've changed is using Outlier. The reason why I like using Outlier is just filtering by odds. Whereas what I found when I was using props.cash, it gives you more data, which is great. But then because I'm in Australia, the odds are a little bit different. So I've got to do a bit of mathematics. So when I do props.cash, I'd investigate, I find a play that I'd like. I'd do 4 minutes, players in and out, road, away, like just going crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll jump on and it's like, oh, it's minus 130. Oh.
On your books.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So
you can't pull through any of the Australian books in any way, right? Like they won't have that information.
No, we don't have anything like it. So all these tools are American, which I don't mind. I can convert that, and it gives me an edge here in Australia. So, whereas now with Outlier, I just delete a view of any picks that don't fit the criteria that I'm looking for. So now, if I put the minimum, the odds are going to be is minus 110. I only get the good odds, and then that's part of what I've been doing well. I've been hitting heaps at plus money, like plus 110, plus 140. Which, because there's a lot of days where you go 50-50, right?
Yeah.
And when you're getting minus 125, you go 50-50 and you're still losing money.
Yeah.
So that sucks. So I made that
100%.
shift.
And that is a, like, I am going to be, switching my strategy has been, for videos, I'm giving straight bets because I'm tracking a record and I'm tracking units won and lost. And I would like both to look nice. For myself, I don't give a shit what the record is. I just obviously, right? And so that takes a level of like patience that I don't think building a following has. I'm trying. So what I've focused on is here's the insight and the single pick itself. And when you come to me and ask, should I play this as a parlay? I tell you the same thing every time. play them all as parlay, play them all as straights every day, and then I play one lotto. And that's what I'm doing every day. And like you said, I believe in myself enough that like if I hit this lotto once out of every 25 times, I've made money on that. And so that's just a long-term gain of like putting something in a stock that's going to hit. And then the other bets are like, yeah, I trust myself to hit 55% of the time this season to get enough of a profit off of these bets that like I'll be fine with it. You know, like at the end of the season, if I'm up 40 units with that, I'm good because I'm also hopefully up about another 20 on the side bet, you know, that I'm playing. I'm just not. Well, the only time I'm recording a parlay that I made as a win or a loss is if I'm like, I put this on the screen of like, no, I'm doing what you said. Like I just want to dumb down that prop a little bit so I can have it in the same game and not worry that whatever, right? So yeah, that's a little between what I'm betting to make money for myself and my personal stuff. But I am hitting all these bets that I show people. Of course, right? I'm just recording it as singles every time.
Yeah. I get you, and I do the same. I'm trying to be transparent and really like I'm using that check the pin comments now. Like that's what I'm betting on. But I find myself like I post and then I update and then I update and then I update and then I was like shit. Like I did it that massive slate the day prior, but I was like 10 games on or whatever it was. That's where I won the 10 units because I had at least I think I had 10 single bets down, but I only started with 5 or 6, and I thought that's a lot of bets. And then more lines became available, and then I was like, then I added another one, then I added another. I just kept going, and then I was like, then I was like, there's too many bets here. I'm going to do a parlay instead. So I could have had 15 to 20 single bets, but I was like, I reduced them by just playing a same game parlay instead. So but then it came. I think last game was that Clippers game. That last game I had PG unders in PRA, and I had Russell Westbrook over in PRA because I thought Kawhi's out. I don't know if PG is going to step up the way everyone wants him to. Westbrook's one of my favorite players, and he's done it in the past, right? The matchup is good. We'll make this happen. And then the first 3 quarters, I was like, oh, God, I read this completely wrong. I got both of them wrong. I should have just paid a parlay because that would have saved me. Because PG went on fire. Westbrook was terrible. And then 5 minutes to go in the game, Westbrook turns it on. PG goes cold. He goes under by a half, which is perfect. And Westbrook goes over due to some late fouls at the end of the game. And then that took me from 7, whatever I was on, up to 10 units profit. And I was like, damn, look, mama, we made it.
Betting, baby. Betting. That's what it is. That's amazing. Yeah.
But look, Josh, I know I've kept you longer than I promised you I would.
It's a good time.
I also have my wife and my daughter waiting for me. But look, I know we're going to chop it up again some future. I've loved this. I could talk to you for hours, not online. But the last thing I want to know from you is, who else do you think I should run this with? I'm doing all the smoke. Who should I bring on next, and how can you help me get them on here?
Yeah. I want you to like be able to mix it up a little bit. People that do a little bit differently too. You know, I would say I will shout out Kyle Kerms. He's a dude.
I love him.
Yeah, he's really.
I've seen you on one of his live streams.
Yeah, I've been going on pretty consistently on. I think I've just sort of like taken a Monday slot. It feels like, but was also on like a Friday recently. He's really good at just being like, "Yo, you want in?" And then you say yes, and all of a sudden you're just doing it every week. But I also like get a lot out of being on it, like learning a ton from what he does, which is really, really impressive. I would say like for someone who, just him introduce himself, describe himself, whatever. But I would say as far as like media production and like a good product show that like whatever you want to say about it, like it's engaging and fun to watch and has really good visual elements to it. Like I would recommend him. Looking for like, I did say Blaze. I'm like, damn, that's really good stuff. Like I really like that, you know, and I don't know that he's even shown his face anywhere necessarily. He's one, and then the other one. Hold on, I forget the name. It's I think it's Pip something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, was he Croatian or Serbian?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. Their stuff's fire too.
He's good. He has great knowledge of the game too.
Yeah, he's watching games. He knows offensive sets. He's watching coaches. Like he's got some really good stuff there. And then you know what? I would also say the dude from Odds Jam is a pretty interesting guy. If he was able to come on, Alex, as well. Because he's doing straight like e-betting, right?
Oh,
and he has like really cool arbitrage tools, and like there's stuff to be said there that's like, yo, like if you just want this to be math and like you really just want to like spend enough money to make some back, you should for sure be doing this, right? Because there's a ton of sports books that are all offering different stuff, and you can bet the same game 2 different ways and make money no matter what happens. That's all I can say. Just keep it as simple as possible. So those are all the dudes. And I would also just lastly throw out like a Crispy Cap'n. Really interesting if you've seen him at all.
I haven't seen him, but
yeah, Chris is predominantly all like live streams, but
right,
his following is really loyal to him. They love him. They'll tune in at 7:30 a.m. if that's when he's got to go because he's got like 2 kids or whatever. Like they're like, all right, bet when am I waking up? Watch, you know. And so does that on YouTube and like Twitter and like goes through every single game and like has a lot to back up what he does, makes good money. So Crispy Cap.
All right, that's beautiful.
Those are like 3 or 4 good ones I think I gave you.
All right, terrific. I'll be sure to chase them up.
Yeah.
Well, look, I thank you once again. I hope you enjoyed the experience. This is the first of hopefully many.
I'm first, man. I think I'm honored. You know what I mean? This is awesome.
Nah, it's been great to have you on there. My last question for you is: have you heard my outro song?
I remember. Are you gonna play for me again?
Absolutely. Here it is.
Up to the channel because your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free. You don't even have to pay me.
Tell me those are your vocals.
That's me.
I knew it. I knew it. This is the intro.
It was going to be, but then I thought I'm going to do YouTube content instead. No, I did that as a joke. Like a few years ago when I first started the channel, I did it just as a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it doesn't sound too bad. Let me play around with the beat a little. Now, keep in mind, I've got no experience whatsoever. Like, at my age, I rarely even listen to music anymore. Like, I listen to content or podcasts, like, or audiobooks. I don't even listen to music anymore. And for me to put a couple bars together, I think is hilarious. But a lot of people loved it. So I was like, I got to keep running with that.
Keep it on. Is that the intro and outro or just outro?
It used to be the intro.
Yeah.
But then I found I got better engagement if I put it at the end because, you know, you click on the video for a reason. I tell you what the video is about. Then I hit you with a song for 10, 15 seconds. I'm not giving you what you came for.
Right.
So
maybe you just get you get like a 3-second drop of it and figure that out, you know?
Yeah. I'll see. But I like to just sneak it in there at the end. And sometimes I forget to put it in and then I see comments like, you didn't play the song.
That's the thing that happened to me because I always say welcome. It's like how I open all my videos. And one time I didn't do it and like 4 people were like, bro, what?
Are you okay?
I come here for this and you don't get it.
Hey, it's part of your brand now. Like even what do I say? What's up, kings and queens? Like it wasn't always queens, right? Because then I got comments like, what about the queens who watch this? And I was like, shit, 1% of my viewers are women. My bad. So,
facts.
Yeah, you got to get feedback from your people.
Yep, that's fire. I appreciate that for sure. On behalf of all our sisters.
Absolutely. All right, Josh, I'm going to close this one off.
Yeah, man.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.